Oh my God, the lighting in here is atrocious. Look at this. This is absolutely terrible. Oh God. I guess this lighting is okay. If you don't follow me on Instagram, this is probably the first time you've seen me since the Death and Return video. And I would say, disorientingly different. Hello, everybody. What's up? Hey, Northy Tunes. Nice to see you, my friend. Saying hello publicly, Northy. Very dangerous of you. Very dangerous. John Waters looking ass. What I'm going for, I call this look the author. And what I'm going for is sort of a John Galt, young Walt Disney, Orson Welles, that sort of idea of a guy. I want to look like an architect from 1933. That's sort of the new look. I'll show you guys the whole deal. It's, hey, oh, here is my magic ball of light. God, the iMac cameras, it really is rough. Oh my God. So all my usual people is here and a lot of new people too. Hello so much. What is my rewriting process like? Different every time. Everything you write is a personal experience and a human experience. So, even in my Glass Planet things, I try to explain that when you engage with things, you have to engage with them the way you would a person. You're creating a life form, sort of, an imprint of yourself. So the way you engage with your stories has to be sort of custom built to work with that story. That goes for rewriting, that goes for writing, that goes for how many hours a day you're writing, everything. Old-timey bank robber looking ass. It's good, isn't it? Yeah, the hair is too much, right? Well, what you have to understand is that the hair over the day, it sort of loosens up and does that like Walt Disney sidefall thing. Just trust me. So I wanted to get the most asked questions about Agent of Batman out of the way first. One of the things that was really interesting that I realized I've never said aloud, and this is, the shirt's a little too deep right now. I realized I've never said this out loud, but the American Alien arc ends, like when American Alien is the story of how Clark Kent, of what happened when Clark Kent became Superman. So my story begins when he's a little kid and it ends when Superman stops existing. So at the end of the fifth arc, it's done. So a lot of the questions people were asking me was like, what's the bigger story of the universe? But I never thought of it that way. I've always engaged with the world of American Alien almost like a novel, like an epic novel that features these characters. But ultimately, it's not built to be an ongoing world. It's meant to be a novel that does the DC universe from Clark's perspective. So I interface with all the characters that interest me most or are most useful to tell the story of Superman. So whereas a character like, a simple Superman villain, like I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. What the fuck is the name of that rope? Metallo. Like, I don't actually need him. So, I'm not going to do all the Superman greatest hits. A lot of people were like, well, how's this going to happen? How's that going to happen? I always kind of had it planned all the way through with the big moments like, oh, surprise, it's the Killing Joke, or, oh, surprise, you thought this was about Batman versus Superman, but actually it's a Lex Luthor story, and we get to really see what that character's like in my world. Or, Lois Lane kills Joker in the fourth arc of American Alien. She shoots him and kills him in cold blood. If you can kill the Joker in cold blood. So this isn't like a world people are like, oh, Clayface isn't really dead. He'll be back. No, Superman in Agent of Batman, he fucking melts it. There's this really, okay, so one of the annoying things about doing pitches instead of writing stuff out is that you can't see details about some of the coolest scenes. And Superman's fight with Clayface that I say, in the video I just kind of go, they brawl into the sewer. But in actuality, that fight is extremely cool because Clark in the Superman suit ends up in the sewers in Gotham, where Killer Croc lives. He's not in it, and Clayface is all over the place because there's water everywhere, and Clayface is having trouble keeping a form, but it's also allowing him to be much bigger. So there's this really cool scene where Superman's in an atrium where all the water is venting, like you always saw in 90s movies and action sequences in sewers. And all the water is venting, and Clark is floating in the middle of it looking around, and all of the walls are Clayface. And this giant Clayface face forms and goes, "Clark Kent, he's a reporter, isn't he?" And starts talking about my version of Clayface. Oh, I can answer one of the other most asked questions because this is where I answer it in the story. My version of Clayface is Basil and is sort of totally out of control of his life. He was an actor, and then he did the serum, and then he went crazy, and he became the monster, and he fought Batman. But now he does a thing where he basically lives like a virus. He stalks people, replaces them, lives as them for a while, and then finds a new person. So he's almost like a Jane Doe type serial killer. Or I describe him, if I ever did a story with him, I'd write him like John Carpenter's The Thing, because he can morph, but then if you piss him off, Clayface. So he was actually, he replaced Dr. Lakhari in the chaos and killed him so he could replace Barbara Gordon. Clayface had no knowledge of the Joker or anything like that. Basil had been not stalking, but saw an opportunity to replace Barbara Gordon, which means he could replace Commissioner Gordon. A lot of people were like, well, why does it matter? Why would Superman kill Clayface for knowing his identity? And the reason is Clayface is a shapeshifter. Like the premise of a guy who can deceive other people, knowing Superman's identity. I mean, Superman's parents are fucked. Superman's whole life is fucked. Like this guy could theoretically, if not just straight up murdered, Clayface could insinuate himself into Clark Kent's life and blackmail Superman. Clark realizes that can't happen. With Aquaman, he doesn't make a moral call because on my version of Aquaman, Arthur Curry, people asked about this. I'll just keep answering all the questions, just in a roll, okay? Because a lot of them connect. A lot of people asked me, Arthur Curry, what's the deal? Why is it H.P. Lovecraft? And the reason is, I thought it would be really great to do different things with the origins of the lesser-known characters. And the thing I wanted to do with Arthur, because so another spoiler for the fourth arc of American Alien, Do It Yourself, which is the one that comes after Agent of Bat, or the third. The second half of the third arc of American Alien is in Innsmouth, is a Lovecraftian adventure with Clark out of costume, Arthur Curry, Oliver Queen, Zatanna, and Blue Beetle. And they go on like a fun adventure up into the Arctic to try to find out more about Aquaman's origin, because Clark, the reporter, is doing a huge story on Aquaman. And he's also in that one, Clark, as a reporter with Lois, figures out, and Edward Nygma, the Riddler, who Clark makes his friend, because as Superman, he shows up to Arkham and goes, "Hey, Riddler, remember me? I need your help." And Riddler's like, "Fuck you, like, get the fuck away from me. I ended up getting caught by Batman anyway. Beating you didn't mean anything." And Superman goes, "Well, what if I had an opportunity for you?" And Riddler goes, "You're a superhero. You catch criminals." And Superman says, No. Batman stops criminals. I'm Superman. My job is I help people. And I see an opportunity to stop a criminal and help someone. I'm putting a group of people together, the exceptional people who've been showing up on the news. I want to know them. I want to meet them, but I don't know how to find them." And Riddler goes, "You're asking me for suggestions?" And Clark goes, "No, Mr. Nygma, I'm asking you to join." So Riddler and Clark Kent found the Justice League, but then they figure out Barry Allen's secret identity. That's why I introduced the Flash and Agent of Batman. But when they get to Barry Allen, they find out he's been blackmailed by Lex Luthor. I'm all over the place. I'm all over the place right now. I'm sorry. It's this. It's got me on crack. What could Riddler possibly contribute to the JSA? Well, in the story, what's so fucking tight is he figures out the secret identities of all of the different superheroes. Riddler and Green Arrow, Clark's first two allies in the JSA, because Clark's past with Oliver Queen, who outs himself as Green Arrow live on TV because he wants to meet Superman. And of course, there's this wonderful moment where it's the opening of Superman Do It Yourself. Oliver Queen's on TV and he goes, "I've been the vigilante called the Green Arrow." And Lois Lane watching goes, "What the fuck is the Green Arrow? Green Arrow? What is he talking about?" And Clark goes, "Oh, it's like a thing in Emerald City. Like some mob bosses got killed with arrows." And Lois is like, "So a billionaire is confessing to murder on television?" And Clark is like, yeah, that's not going to be good. So Clark shows up. I'm sorry, I'm telling it all out of order. But basically, Oliver Queen and the Riddler, if you put those two guys together, you have one Batman. You know, you have the brain of the Riddler, the analytics of Edward Nygma, who I think is most compellingly written as an OCD genius whose priority isn't murder, it's mayhem and fun. And of course, how do you have more fun once you have Superman on your side? Riddler begins to basically build the infrastructure for the JSA. They need someone like him, and they need Oliver Queen's money. So you have Batman in the Justice Society, even though Batman, for my world, is an antagonist. If you don't like me, you should probably not watch these videos where I just talk endlessly about made-up bullshit. Thank you for vibing with the mustache, y'all. Riddler does not die. Riddler makes it all the way through the 5th arc and is redeemed, although he's in Hannibal Lecter mode until the 5th arc. And then Batman, there's a really cool moment. Bruce Wayne has quit being Batman at that point. Oliv, do you want to be a mod? Here. I'm just going to start modding people left and right. I think, Trevor, the ending, I think Hush is a real mixed bag in terms of the way it's executed. But I think the final scene between Riddler and Batman may be one of the best comic book scenes of all time, best written. I don't know who you are, Ryan. Can I be a mod? Ricky, you can be a mod. Fuck yeah. Sorry, I'm just modding people who followed me for like 5 years. Yeah, so Dick doesn't actually join the Justice Society until the 4th arc. Because Nightwing, I put off Nightwing a whole arc because in the 4th arc, which is called For All Mankind, the villain is Batman. Because Batman, after apparently he got another Robin after Dick Grayson, that Robin was killed by the Joker. And Batman has gone to a really bad place. You thought he was bad in Agent of Batman. Now he's really bad. And he started to make something called the Justice League. And meanwhile, you have Luthor, who controls the Flash, and a couple of other heroes who will remain nameless, and a couple of villains. And then you have Batman. And Batman has 2 new Robins. And their names are Wally West and Billy Batson. Batman's logic for Batson was that he was trying to train Superman to be Robin. Why not just have Superman be Robin? So, like, it's tight. It's tight, dog. The 4th one's tight because it's JSA versus JLA. It's Superman versus Lex Luthor. It's about being a man. It's all about masculinity, the 4th one, because Clark, as you've seen, has a sort of retreating, vulnerable masculinity, and Batman doesn't, and Lex Luthor certainly doesn't, and Oliver Queen has his own style of that. Sorry, I'm just talking about everything. Oh, Loki, you can be a mod. Mod. I'm like Oprah. Why did you kill all the beautiful ambiguity of the Killing Joke storyline because I don't care about the Killing Joke. I think the most interesting, cool thing that the Killing Joke brought to Batman has been so endlessly perverted by subsequent play with the storyline that the most interesting thing to do with the Killing Joke is to use it as a prop to do Superman shit. And why did I make Batman a villain? Because he is a villain. Batman, the character, to me, I love the character. I love Batman's stuff. But if I'm writing that character, the character of Batman is incoherent. Like, in the 90s, there was this whole movement amongst fans of describing Batman as a psychopath or, a crazy guy who sort of creates his own problems. And I always thought that was interesting, but that really lets him off the hook. Saying Batman's crazy is like, yeah, okay, I get it, but like, ultimately for me, Batman is a really shitty person, and everything good about Bruce Wayne is hidden inside that. The arc of my Batman within American Alien, there's just more spoilers for stuff I haven't written, and maybe you won't write just all my stuff. But okay, so what happens to my Batman is in American Alien, he tries to attack Superman. It fails, but he inspires Superman to be a superhero. He inspires Clark to be a superhero. In Agent of Batman, he teaches Clark the tools he has, but ultimately should learn a lesson from Clark, but he doesn't. He just goes deeper because aggression never works with the mentally ill. It just doesn't. And Batman is mentally ill. He has a fixation on the law and Gotham, and yet he himself operates extra-jurisdictionally. So Batman is never in charge of the order part of Law and Order. It's a fundamentally irresponsible and complicated legal proposition to have criminals caught by a vigilante whose evidence would have to be transposed because it can't come from a fucking nameless guy in a mask with a tank and an airplane. So, like, Batman, to me, is a villain in the DC universe. I think that's cool. I think the fun of watching Batman, and the thing I do in American Alien, by the fifth arc, the end of the fourth big thing is a confrontation between Superman and Batman, where Superman traps Batman and doses them both with a massive amount of Scarecrow fear gas, and they have like an ayahuasca experience together, and it helps Batman purge being Batman. And then in the fifth arc, he's Bruce Wayne, and he's finally happy, and he finally has a relationship with Dick, and he takes on Tim Drake, except for we barely see Tim Drake in American Alien. I love Tim, but he's not necessary for my story, except for he's training Tim to be a new Batman because he's done with it. And you almost have the like Batman Beyond vibe, except for imagine just based Bruce Wayne. Imagine if Bruce Wayne was Batman and was Bruce Wayne, like Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne. Just like an awesome guy. That's who my Batman ends up as. But he's the villain of a lot of stories to get there. Sorry. I wasn't watching all these. How old is Batman when he retires? American Alien ends when Superman is 34 and Batman is 36. And it begins when Superman is 9. And you see their whole lives. Why so little development for Barbara? Why don't you ask DC Comics for the 40 years before they shot her? Who cares? I mean, because she's not a character in the story. We don't even see her on screen. She is, they use this term women in refrigerators. And what's interesting about that term and that trope is it's a real problem, and yet also there's no quicker way to raise the stakes than, oh, the person you love, they're dead. So, I used her not as Barbara Gordon, the character, not as Oracle or Batgirl. I used her as a way to finally sever the relationship between Dick and Bruce, because she is Dick's one secret in American Alien, and his relationship to her is what was grounding him. And now when she's shot, I mean, you can't getting shot by your girlfriend getting shot by the Joker when you're Batman's sidekick. I mean, like Rachel Dawes. Sure. Yeah, it's not the Killing Joke. It's someone make a great question. Someone make the secret question to trigger the surprise. Wonder Woman is in Agent of Batman. No, Wonder Woman is in the fourth one, and she's Batman's. She's a member of Batman's League because she in the arc of American Alien, she's still living on the island with the Amazons and represents them. And my version of Diana is really scary and a lesbian, and just she's like a real Amazon. She's like very aggressive. She's not beautiful. She's really tall. She's taller than Bruce and Clark, and she's super aggressive, but really smart. And there's this awesome scene in the I shouldn't say awesome about my own thing, but I'm like excited by it. There's this scene in the final arc where Barbara's talking to Clark about bravery. And she's trying to figure out if he has what it takes to basically do this challenge. I don't want to get into that, but in it, we finally understand that what we interpret as ruthlessness and aggression from Wonder Woman, we finally get it's because she's terrified, because she'd never left the island before they made her the emissary. So she confesses to Clark that even though she can kick everyone's ass, she's constantly confused by cultural references, by small things like phones. Like she has totally off. So Clark and her in the fifth one, the final entry of American Alien, end up becoming like really tight homies because he helps her just navigate as Clark Kent. He helps her navigate like being in the real world. And that, of course, ultimately, there's this sick ass fucking scene. There has to be at the end of American Alien, the end of the big arc where there's the big fight, and in the big fight are Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Arrow, Superman, Batman. Well, not Batman, Bruce Wayne, but he puts on a it's so sick. He has this final to fight Vandal Savage and then to fight the final true villain of all of American Alien. He puts back on this version of the Batman cowl, except for there's this sick part where Vandal Savage goes, you think I'm a criminal, but you're the one hiding behind the mask. And Bruce goes, you're the one wearing the mask. And Vandal Savage goes, and Vandal attacks him, and Bruce goes, boop, and takes off the Batman mask and puts it on Vandal Savage and goes, boop, like that. So it locks onto his head, and then Bruce just fucking beats the shit out of Batman. And you finally have this moment of catharsis where Bruce is fighting Vandal Savage, who is, the crime Bible. He's the messiah of crime and evil. And Bruce finally gets to be what he always pathologically thought he was, the messiah of justice and truth. And in that moment, he realizes, it could have never been Batman. Batman is the darkness inside people. And I thought I could control people by controlling their darkness. But that's not how you control people. That's not how you earn love. You earn love by shining light into the darkness. So Bruce gets to defeat Vandal Savage on his own, and Clark rushes to save him. He handled it. Sorry. So that's the finale of the character Batman. Sorry. Too many Red Bulls. I just love talking about American Alien stuff. I feel bad. I'm doing some experimental films. I have a movie coming out apparently. I'm doing a bunch of like fun stuff, and I'm writing a novel. But I have had a lot of fun talking about American Alien with you guys. It's so fun. It just reminds me of working at Golden Apple, or back when I used to hang out at Wonderland Comics in Pomfret, Connecticut, or was it Pomfret, Massachusetts? I just used to just hang out in the back of comic stores and just be like, well, who would win? And I think everyone did that. I think that's like the quintessential experience of geeks from my generation. And, always being like, if they really made an Iron Man movie and really did it like the comic, it'd be a big hit. And then they do it, and you're like, see? But everyone's like, I love Robert Downey Jr. And you're like, yeah, but Tony Stark is actually a very interesting... It was being a geek. Like, remember when Star Wars was good? Remember when Star Wars was like something fun and cool from the past, but somehow in the present, represented by toys, comics, video games? It was like, oh, they're releasing the revisualized Star Wars. It was like this wonderful music box, this artisan crafted fantasy epic, this pure thing. It really was. Even the like corporate arms of it, like Star Tours at Disney, even they felt pure. Even they had a purity, and the purity is just gone. And it's funny because I'd say it's nostalgia, and I'd say it's like, oh, it's my youth. We look back and things are color coded, better than they are, but Monster Squad's not good. Like I remember bad things. You're never going to convince me that Hook is a good movie. Like, I don't know. Anyone else scared of the election? Oh. Okay, sorry. Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor. Yes, Lex, my version of Lex is a huge piece of shit. Like an extremely bad guy. And I really like him because I show him a little, I go like this with him in American Alien. Here he is. There he goes. Lex Luthor named Superman. There he goes. And I wait till the fourth arc, which is called For All Mankind, to really let Lex come to the forefront as a villain. And he's a villain because one of the things Joker says in the fourth American Alien run, Joker, when talking to Lois Lane before she murders him, it's dope because Joker thinks he's totally safe at this point. He goes, it's already over. And Joker has a plan to go on TV. Joker goes on this, he goes out of character again to talk to Lois. And he goes, I've realized something. The moment a superhero or supervillain makes a political statement, they will instantaneously have a cult due to social media. There will be thousands of people who agree with them. And so the Joker basically is like, not in these words, it's not like political, but basically like, I'm going to make America great again. The next time I'm on TV, I have some opinions. And Joker has basically gotten all of these crazy conspiracy theories, and he's just going to start saying that they're true because no one knows where Joker came from. But Joker's thing is he basically says to Lois, there are already superheroes and supervillains. They're billionaires. There is no deep state. The deep state, the real people behind the curtain, the real Illuminati, they don't care about politics. They exist in an ecosystem so divorced from anything even with superheroes and supervillains, that they're untouchable. Lex Luthor is a criminal. And that really bothers Joker because he's like, superheroes are new, capitalism's old. If you thought we were going to solve the supervillain problem, take a look at how we solved capitalism. It's going to get worse and worse until we destroy the planet. And so Lois goes, no. So that's why it's cool. It's a cool scene. Luthor is to Trump what Superman is to Obama. I disagree because I think Obama's a war criminal. But maybe to be president, you have to be. Luthor to me is like Trump, except for no one. To me, Luthor's more like Elon Musk. If Elon Musk had the personality of Jesse Eisenberg in The Social Network. I mean, like Luthor, what's crazy about my version of Luthor is he really is like a eugenics guy. He really believes himself and his genes to be better than most people. And yet, because of that, because he feels he represents the quintessential human being, he has a frantic desire to destroy the things that are alien to that. So Luthor envisions a society of Luthors. Like, there's this cool moment where he's testing this face streaming technology because he's trying to do Superman's. It's in the fourth one. I'm explaining elements of a pitch you guys will never hear, but basically there's this like dope thing where Luthor is trying to figure out Superman's facial mapping to finally get his identity. So he has these goggles that put Superman's face on everyone. And there's this moment where he puts his own face on everyone. And he's just looking around surrounded by Luthors. And he's like finally able to relax because that's his ideal world. Oh, no, my version of Superman would kill someone just to protect himself. My version of Superman, my version of Joker is a brilliant performance artist who, by virtue of dedication to the character, has become a lunatic. Once you pretend to be crazy, he's almost a professional wrestler because he's doing a character, but he's also doing it for real. So he's like a professional wrestler or a porn star, or like, you know, reality show character. He's a very shrewd guy with a very strong opinion. My favorite Flash comics were basically the entire Jeff Johns run. I don't have a favorite Aquaman comic. I find a lot of the writing of that character alienating. How fast is my Flash? Way faster than Superman. Oh, people keep... would Steel or any of the other Supermen exist in your universe? No, because Superman doesn't die. When he fights Doomsday, he wins. Spoiler. It's a huge spoiler. It's so dope. It's a cool moment. Because my Clark wouldn't lose to Doomsday. Because he would never be in a punching contest with a monster. He's too smart. And so, like, it's just dope. They go toe-to-toe in a totally different way. Sorry, I'm having so much fun. Hey, man, quick question. What are your thoughts on The Boys? Well, my Death and Return of Superman was for a new mainstream continuity. I use elements of it in the American Alienverse, but no. I hate the first season of The Boys. I thought it shared too many problems with the comic. The comic is like edgelord. Like The Boys, by the time the first issue of the comic of The Boys came out, the same guy, he'd already written The Pro, which, like, is that? Like, Watchmen is edgier than The Boys. Oh, all the superheroes are bad. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but fucking Superman's murdered people. There have been storylines where Batman's like a vampire. Like, oh, superheroes are bad. They're corporate. Yeah, I mean, like, did that comic miss the 90s? Like, hold on. Oh, fuck. I forgot I had a delivery coming. But the second season of The Boys has been fucking dope. And I really hope that we get to see some heroism from one of the superheroes by the end of the season. I'm hoping the deeper A trade, but I think the show's too cynical. But I really want to see some heroism from the superheroes because that would be the most subversive thing the show could do. Because that would mean you're taking characters who are written as completely one-dimensional monsters and then having them do openly heroic things because they are superheroes. And I think that would put the audience in an interesting position. I really want Homelander to have a big heroic fight with a powerful bad guy. And I hope that's where the Stormfront thing is going. But I love Homelander's portrayal in the second season so much. And when you write a sociopath like that, because the key thing of writing sociopaths is that they don't know they're sociopaths. You can't write them. They have to just be thinking of themselves. And what's wonderful about the way Homelander is both written and portrayed is he's not a bad guy. Like, he's an asshole and a murderer and a monster and every bad thing you can be. But you're just kind of like, oh, it's Homelander. Every time you see him, you're like, oh, good, more Homelander. It's kind of a wonderful trick of writing. I'll be right back. Bye. Hello? Sorry. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Took a little break. My Hero Academia. I've heard good stuff about it. Hello, baby. This is Gizmo, everybody. Okay, I feel like I've been doing this for long enough. I just sort of rant. We wanted to know about the origin of Arthur Curry. So Arthur Curry was raised in a Lovecraftian death cult in the town of Innsmouth, and he was born to a woman in a blood sacrifice to Dagon, one of Lovecraft's gods of the ocean. And this cat is the most patient cat, like truly. Sorry. He was told since he was a little child that he would be the Messiah for Dagon. Except for then the FBI raided this cult and a lot of them were killed. And this kid was taken when he was still a little boy after years and years of being told he's going to be the Messiah and the savior of planet Earth. He is taken by an alcoholic sea captain named Captain Sam, who realizes the boy can never go near the water because he'll find out he's not human. So he brings Arthur out to a lighthouse in the middle of the desert, and he keeps him there his whole childhood until one day Captain Sam is killed by an old enemy, David Hyde, the Black Manta. And Arthur Curry has to go back out into the world. But what's fucking cool is, okay, huge spoilers. All this Lovecraft shit is bullshit. It's Krypton. It's Brainiac. Buried under the ocean. And he's been there forever since before Clark arrived. Brainiac's been under the ocean, and he is the Lovecraftian monsters. And in researching Arthur's origins in Superman Do It Yourself, it's dope because we end up going and discovering this labyrinth of technology underwater, which leads us up into the Fortress of Solitude. So it's tight. And what's fun is that, like, Do It Yourself, you think it's going to be like, oh, it's the Justice League one. But instead, it's like this heartfelt adventure story about Clark. The main characters are like Clark, Zatanna, Blue Beetle, Oliver Queen, Aquaman, and Jimmy Olsen. And they go on this big adventure in the ice world. And Clark, there's a whole thing where Clark almost freezes to death because he gets frozen in ice. It's cool, man. And then he ends up, we also find out, oh, here's a fucking dope thing. We find out that Kryptonians do not look like human beings. So a lot of people ask me, how does Clark get drunk? And the answer is that Clark is genetically human. That means his body will react in the ways a human body would. And that's a little confusing because we all know Clark's an alien. So there's this dope thing where they encounter this creature in Antarctica that's being kept alive on life support inside of this thing, this Fortress of Solitude. And this creature called Zod is like this weird fan in a shell. They're like aliens that eat energy in the sun that doesn't have a mouth or eyes or anything. And Clark realizes this is what Kryptonians look like. They're like totally not human. So Clark's really confused about like what his fucking life is, you know, like how am I, but I'm human. And he finds out that pod that he came down in, it scans the dominant life form on the planet, and then it emulates them. So the first people it scanned were John and Martha Kent. So Clark actually is their son, even though he's not. And you can actually see for a second in the first issue of American Alien, when John remembers Clark, he remembers finding him. He remembers all these tendrils coming off of him. So it's Jesus. He's both really the son. So Clark is human. That's one of the big twists of American Alien. He's not human, but he is human. He's both. He's a Kryptonian who is a human being. He is the American alien. And so that like really helps him emotionally. And it's what leads to him deciding to have a kid with Lois, which will eventually lead to him quitting being Superman. in the 5th arc. So Martha and Jonathan's dream is genetically true. Yes. There's a really cool scene with John and Martha at the top of 3 where John basically says, "You're not my son, but you still have my eyes. Maybe you grew to look like me." And then we find out, no, dog, he is your son. I don't know. I just think that's tight. The kid is Connor Kent? No, the kid is an unnamed baby. American Alien ends with the kid's birth. But like the whole world has changed at that point. American Alien, one of the other things is that it's utopian. It's the story of how everything for humanity got better because this one guy became Superman. And so the world changes significantly from how it is even now, as it would need to for it to be a utopia. You know, a lot of my work isn't about what it's about. People always go, when are you going to do Death and Return of Superman for another comic book character? Never, because Death and Return of Superman isn't about Death and Return of Superman. It's about suspension of disbelief and death in comics and rules in storytelling. And they go, when are you going to do another wrestler? Wrestling isn't wrestling. Probably never, because it's not really about Triple H. He's just the perfect choice to show that wrestling is an important narrative medium that is dismissed unfairly when it's actually this brilliant, deep world of storytelling, you know? And so even the Jurassic World video I just released, you will soon see that even that was not actually about Jurassic World, which is insane. I'm doing such dumb stuff. I have no idea how scheduled it is. How much of all of this have I actually written? A lot, but none of it in order. I write what I need to remember. But, you know, I read a lot of the dialogue. I don't know. Okay. I feel like we did it. Does Superboy ever exist in my universe? No. No. Why? What's Superboy? I mean, like, what great, other than being like a fun character in Young Justice, what great Superboy storyline is there? Like, Superboy, the characters like that have always been like gimmick characters to me. Like, even Superboy Prime, when he first came back, that was interesting, but now he's just another thing, you know? If someone adapted my characters, whoa, there's so many different things happening. How do I make this slow? Have a good day too, Brad. Okay, I think you're all great. When you write your Superman, what is the voice you hear? Young Tom Hanks. Young Tom Hanks is like or young John Cusack. John Cusack, I think, would be a really great version of my Superman. And then there's, you know, I think Superman's a character who can be any color. As long as he's still from rural middle America, I think he can be any color. Slow mode. How many Robins exist in this universe? Does any hero challenge Batman for power and dominance in your universe? Yeah, Superman. He creates the Justice Society, which then fights Batman's Justice League. And I forgot how to speak, and Lex Luthor's team with Flash and Manchester Black, and Clark wins. Clark and Oliver Queen and Ted Kord and Zatanna make it fucking work, and they beat. It's cool. It's at the end of the 4th arc. Is it just? Can I tell you my favorite scene of the 4th arc? Because it's neat. Or no, it's Do It Yourself, because it's how we meet one of the characters. I'll do that, and then I'm going to bail out because I talk for long enough and I'm like hyper. I look silly. Okay, so Batman is in Chicago, and he's tracking down Black Mask. And this is how the story opens. This is how This is how the 3rd arc of American Alien opens. And the only time we see Batman, we don't see him again. So Batman is fighting Black Mask, and then escapes in the Batmobile, ties up Black Mask, all the cop cars. It's Christopher Nolan, tons of cop cars. It's that scene in every Batman movie where the cops try to catch the Batmobile. It's like, fat fucking chance, like not gonna happen, like that. And fucking cop cars chasing him through Chicago. You know, Chicago's on a grid, so it's all these sharp turns. We see Batman just totally dead calm in the fucking Batmobile, like that. And Jason Todd is with him behind him, strapped in like that, going like, woo, because he loves running from the cops. All the cop cars follow Batman up onto the bridge, but we see one cop car go that way. Batman gets up on the bridge, fires grappling hooks to the top of the suspension, swings the Batmobile like Tarzan over the cops. Jason Todd's dropping smoke bombs and electricity bombs. All the cop cars are stuck on the bridge. Batmobile lands under the bridge. Woo, 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 woo. That one cop car comes screaming out of an alley, still chasing the Batmobile. Jason Todd goes, let's get this asshole, and tries to fire the rockets. Batman's like, don't do that. Here, I got it. Fires out fucking slick on the road. The cop car goes, and then spins out. And then in the middle of spinning out, some kind of axle kicks in. And the cop car goes, ka-chika, on the fucking loudspeaker from the cop car. To the man inside the vehicle, you are in defiance of Chicago City speed limits. Pull over and subject to arrest now. Batman's like, are you fucking kidding? Fucking fires this thing out of the back, throwing stars. Fucking pops all the tires on the cop car. And the cop car goes, false sparks. And then the cop car goes, and lifts into the air. And Jason Todd goes, and Batman goes, like that. And then they turn, and in the middle of the street, there's a fucking brick wall from nowhere. And Zatanna goes, like that, and jumps back from it. The Batmobile slams into the brick wall, flips, rolls, crashes to the ground. Zatanna, wearing a hoodie and like, you know, a sports bra and workout pants, is like that. The cop car goes, and the doors of the cop car fall off. The back of the cop car falls off, revealing the blue paint underneath. And Ted Kord, in his Chicago PD uniform, gets out of the car, gets up on the hood of the Batmobile and goes, Batman, you are under arrest. You have the right to remain silent. And then it's Blue Beetle fights Batman and loses. But that's how we meet Blue Beetle, with the bug in the cop car. And that's how we meet Zatanna, is they've been working together to try to deal with corruption in the police force. I love those two characters, and we have so much fun with them in this story. Okay, sorry. It's just dope. Okay, bye, guys. I don't know how long I'll leave this up. Thank you all for hanging out with me. There will be more and better long-form content soon. Superman can get drunk but not wasted. He can get high but he won't freak out. He is biologically human. So no matter how much he drinks, he'll always be like 3 drinks in. Poison will often make him sick, but he can power through it very easily. Okay. What's stopping Lois Lane from outing Batman's identity once she knows it? Her love for the love of her life.